asked by Snape's Gem 1, I believe, to do the accent tag, which is pretty funny because I'm pretty sure that's how I met her on YouTube, was talking about someone's accent on their accent tag video. But anyway, I'm really excited because first of all, I love watching tag videos, and this one is really cool to me because I love language. Like, it's something that makes a lot of sense to me and something that I find really interesting. Anyway, okay, so first is a list of words, and you're just supposed to say how you pronounce them, I guess. So I'm just gonna read them off my list here. Ant, roof, root or route, but I say route if I'm talking about this is the route I'm gonna take, but if I'm talking about on my GPS when they're like rerouting, then I say route. So if it's used as a verb, I say route, and if it's a noun, I say route. Wash, oil, theater, iron, salmon, and this one's kind of funny because I was at a farmer's market with my mom a couple months ago, and by the way, I feel like I go to farmer's markets all the time and I love farmer's markets, but does everyone do that? Is that normal? Do they have farmer's markets everywhere? Let me know below. I'm really curious because I'm obsessed with farmer's markets, and I'm kind of wondering if it's just a thing where I live. But anyway, so we were at a farmer's market, and we were at this stand where they were making like burrito kind of things, and there was one called the salmon taco because it had salmon in it. And so we each ordered one of those, and then the lady behind us comes up, and she's like, "Hi, I'll have a salmon taco." And we were like, what? We laughed so hard. We were like, first of all, salmon, and second of all, taco? Oh my word. We thought it was hilarious, and it was probably not as funny as we found it to be, but oh man, it was entertaining. So that makes me laugh every time I hear someone say like salmon or salmon, and I know some people do say that, but salmon and taco in one sentence was too much for me that day. Caramel, fire, water, sure. When I was little I said sure, and then like somewhere along the line I decided that sure sounded like a better way to pronounce it, so I say sure, but a lot of people I know say sure. So I don't know which one's right. Data, ruin, crayon, New Orleans. The next one, pecan or pecan. Pecan. I try to avoid saying that word because I don't actually know how you're supposed to say it, which is kind of sad because I love pecan pie. I guess I say pecan. I don't know. I really am unsure, so I try not to say that if I can help it. Both. Again, probably. Spitting image. Alabama. Lawyer, coupon, mayonnaise, syrup, pajamas, or PJs. When I was growing up I called them PJs because my dad called them PJs. So pajamas actually like sort of sounds really proper in my mind. So I don't know, I say PJs. Cot, naturally, aluminum, and envelope. So that's how I pronounce those. I think the funnest part, funnest, I don't know. The most fun part of this tag is the questions. So the first one says, what is it called when you throw toilet paper on a house? That's called TPing, and I've heard a lot of people in their videos ask like, who does that? Nobody does that around here. Where I come from, people totally do that. Like when you're in junior high and you have nothing to do on a weekend, that's what you do. You go TP like your ex-boyfriend's house or something. It happens a lot, and we also, well, people, I don't know if I'm too old to do that kind of thing, I feel like, but we also like fork people's lawns, which is, I've never done it, but I guess you take like millions of forks and like stick it in people's grass. I don't really know what the point is. I guess it's like humiliating for like whoever your friend is that has to go and pick all the forks out the next morning or something. People also egg houses, which I think is really not cool. People also put rice in your lawn, like sprinkle it in the lawn, and where I live it rains a lot, so then it rains, I've never done it, but I guess it rains and like it sprouts, or like it just becomes mushy and it's hard to, yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it like becomes really soft like rice and it's hard to get out, impossible to get out of your lawn, so people think it's funny. Parents don't think it's funny. But anyway, And someone brought up, when I was watching a tag video from, I can't remember what other country, but it was another country, and they were saying, I don't know what TP is, or what TPing is, but I've seen American Pie, so I guess that's probably what people do in America. And I've heard people saying that, like, people from other countries think that the US is like American Pie. Like, if you watch American Pie, that's exactly what our life is like, which is hilarious and very sad at the same time, because yes, I loved those movies when I was younger, but that's not what life is like in America. Sometimes, I guess, for some people, but pretty much no. It's not the norm, so I'm sorry to shatter anybody's dreams if they think that that's what we do on a daily basis, but it's not. Okay, wow, finally on to question number 2. What is the bug that curls into a ball when you touch it? That is a potato bug. Number 3, what is the bubbly carbonated drink called? I call that a soda. Most of the people that I grew up with call it pop, because I'm not from the South, but soda I think is like a Southern thing. I don't know why I call it soda, but I do. And I get made fun of actually for calling it soda. So most people around here call it pop. My dad calls it Coke. It doesn't matter if it's Sprite, it doesn't matter if it's Pepsi, which is of course not even made by Coke. He calls it Coke. If it's carbonated and it's a soft drink, it's Coke. What do you call gym shoes? Well, first of all, we don't call it gym. I guess some people do, but we call it PE, like gym class. We call it PE, which stands for physical education, obviously. So I don't know, I never called it gym. Like, I'm going to put my gym shoes on and go to gym class. But if we were to refer to the shoes, I call them tennis shoes. Some people call them sneakers, but that sounds goofy to me, so I call them tennis shoes. Or running shoes, I guess, sometimes. What do you say to address a group of people? I don't know. Hey guys. What do you call the kind of spider that has an oval-shaped body and extremely long legs? That's a daddy long legs. Let's see, what do you call your grandparents? Well, I only have one grandfather. I call him Grandpa. And so my grandma that's married to my grandpa, I call her Grammy. What do you call the wheeled contraption in which you carry groceries at the supermarket? I call that a cart. It's a shopping cart, but I call it a cart. And I do not say supermarket. I don't know, does anyone say supermarket? I call it the grocery store or Safeway. I don't say supermarket. What do you call it when rain falls when the sun is shining? If I hadn't seen a lot of accent tag videos, I would have no idea what this question was about, but and no, none of the Americans who have done this video know what it's about. I guess in some countries they call it a sun shower, which I think is really cute, but we don't call it anything. We just, I mean, where I live it rains a lot, so we just call it like Tuesday, you know. And the last question is, what is the thing you change the TV channel with? It's a remote. I pretty much call it a remote. I used to call it a clicker, but my husband thinks that that is like the most ridiculous thing ever to call it, so I don't call it a clicker anymore. So yeah, that's my accent tag. I guess I'm probably gonna put in the title like what kind of accent I have, so I'm pretty much gonna tell you where I live, which I guess I'm cool with. I live in a big place that's not like anyone's gonna find me. But I live in Seattle. Yay! So this is my accent tag Seattle version. I'm gonna go because my husband and I are going to a Seattle Mariners game, and maybe I'll get some footage of Seattle and put it in here because it would be kind of like Seattle appropriate. It was a lot of fun doing this video, so thank you, Jem, for requesting it, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!